Hello? Hello? Mr. President?
Great.
No, I will not help you with that. Hey, this is Brendan with Focus Camera. Today we're taking a look at the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III smartphone. It was announced earlier this year in April. It's due to start shipping in the next few weeks. We've been really excited to get our hands on this little guy, so special shout out to Sony for giving us a pre-production model. Let's take a look, see what it can do. It's only been a year since Sony released the Xperia 1 Mark II, but even so they've managed to cram quite a few upgrades into the new model. In our review of the Xperia 1 Mark II, we called it the perfect smartphone for photographers, and a lot of those features have been maintained for the new model. Sony's kind of an underdog in the smartphone market, even though they're a big name brand. Apple, Google, Samsung, these guys are dominating. The plus side of this is that Sony really sets out to impress with their smartphones. Unsurprisingly, they've leaned into something that they do best, the camera. The specs and the capabilities of the 1 Mark III are impressive. This is not a phone. It's a camera that you can use as a phone. And for gaming. And for watching movies. It does a lot of stuff. We're gonna take the phone out for a spin to see what the camera can do, but first let's dive into the specs and what else it has going for it. In terms of build, the Xperia 1 Mark III is quite similar to the Xperia 1 Mark II. It's very long and narrow, and uses a 6.5-inch 4K HDR OLED display. The display uses a Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, while the back has a frosted glass finish over a sleek black matte aluminum frame. It has IP6568 weatherproofing, so it's water and dust proof. The 4 buttons on the right side of the phone include a volume control, power button that doubles as a fingerprint sensor, a dedicated Google Assistant button, and a dedicated shutter button with an embossed finish. There's also a headphone jack on top, which I particularly like given that some smartphones have omitted this entirely. And the SIM card tray on the left side of the phone is very easy to remove, and it holds either 2 SIM cards or a SIM card and a micro SD card, which is great for added storage, especially given the camera capabilities of this phone. For some people, the phone's unique size may take some getting used to. It's long, thin, but it fits in my pocket easily and you can use it one-handed. Although granted, there's a bit of screen real estate to reach with one finger. Of course, this pays dividends when you want to use the phone for gaming or to watch a movie, especially given some of the specs the phone inherited from the Xperia 5 Mark II. That include a 120Hz refresh rate and 240Hz motion blur reduction, which help the phone offer a really great blur-free gaming experience. The Xperia 1 Mark III also inherited a 240Hz touch scanning rate, which allows the phone to have a really precise and immediate touch response. Trying out Call of Duty on the Xperia 1 Mark III, I had a great time. It felt really intuitive and responsive. Of course, this was my first time playing smartphone games at this caliber. I also love watching movies, and I was really keen to try out the 21:9 4K display and the new and improved stereo speakers that are 40% louder than on the Xperia 1 Mark II. Sure enough, it didn't disappoint. It was the most immersive experience I've had watching a film on a smartphone. Okay, now that we've talked about the other exciting features of the phone, let's talk photo and video. The camera capabilities of the Xperia 1 Mark III are insane. Let's take it outside and see what it can do. We're here at Grand Army Plaza, about to put the camera to the test. Really want to see what all 4 focal lengths can do, how the autofocus performs. And the camera's supposed to be able to shoot 4K at 120 frames per second. So we're going to put that to test with the fountain behind me and really see what it can do. Shooting right now, testing the 16, the 24, the 70, and the 105 focal lengths. I've got a 1250 shutter speed, ISO of 64. It's really nice that the camera can get that low. Got Johnny over here. Let's see what it can do.
Maybe when I gotta smile with my eyes.
One thing that's kind of annoying me is that I'm shooting right now in manually, In manual mode, if I want to look at my photo that I just took and then go back to the camera, it puts me in basic mode again, and so if I want to go back to manual, I have to scroll through and return to manual. Just a small thing that's kind of annoying, interrupting the flow of me taking photos, but otherwise I really enjoy that you can actually access these manual settings and change whatever you want to get the shot that you need. Incredibly, the Xperia 1 Mark III can shoot 4K video at 120 frames per second. Even the Sony A7 III that we're using to shoot this video doesn't support that. For vloggers and content creators, I imagine the ability to shoot stunning 4K video at up to 120 frames per second on your smartphone is a great feature to have. You can pair it with another camera very easily and have comparable video quality. You be the judge, but personally I found the results to be pretty impressive. We're about to test out the autofocus, shooting at 24 frames per second, got the ISO at the lowest 50, and it's still just a little bit too overexposed. So I'm gonna have to crank the shutter speed, even though we're already at 120. To test out the autofocus, we had Johnny walk back and forth, side to side, up and down in front of the camera. As you can see, the autofocus was pretty fast and kept him sharp at all times. We're in Park Slope right now. Been shooting for the last few hours in the park, in the streets, getting some really nice stuff. One thing I noticed is that when you're shooting in 4K video, the phone does get pretty hot, but never overheated to the point that we had to stop using it or turn it off. So that was nice, but yeah, certainly a little hot to the touch. I think we're gonna go back now to the studio, take a look at the photos, see how they look. Looking through the phone, they look nice, so I'm curious to see how they look, and I'm not at all. We shot a lot of photos and video on the Xperia 1 Mark III, and after reviewing it all, I've got to say I'm impressed. I knew going in that the technical specs are advanced, but I was still a little skeptical about what we could do with this phone. I mean, it's a smartphone. It's not a full professional grade camera, but that's the kind of output we got. I was pleasantly surprised by the results. Once we familiarized ourselves with the camera and Cinema Pro apps, which didn't take long at all, we were able to fine-tune the settings and get really good quality photos and videos. Personally, of the 3 lenses, my favorite was the 24mm. Of the 4, the weakest was probably the 105mm focal length, but that's to be expected considering it was an optical zoom telephoto lens. And you were still able to get some really great shots, especially some nice macro photography. Overall, the image quality, color rendition, and sharpness were pretty great. If I have any complaints, it's that we weren't able to get the same amount of bokeh or background separation as I can on a full-size Sony camera. With a price tag of $1298, the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III is a high-end smartphone. However, given its advanced capabilities, especially for photographers, filmmakers, and mobile gamers, it's a great deal. Check out the link in the description below where you can pre-order the phone now. Special thanks again to Sony for letting us use the phone, and please like this video if you enjoyed this review and subscribe to the Focus Camera TV channel for more videos like this. See you next time.